Alrighty. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. It is officially 7:59 Eastern Standard Time, and I'm excited about what we are coming live to talk about tonight. So as you come in, leave me a comment, let me know who's here. Let me know where you're from, all of that good stuff. I know I'm streaming to a couple of platforms. And so as you come in, just let me know who's here. I want to get started as soon as possible. I'm excited about the conversation we are going to have tonight, representing 4 generations. And so I'm just so excited about what we're going to talk about on tonight, being women, and we are going to talk about sisterhood. I'm telling y'all, when the Lord gave me this topic, I said, well, we got to talk about. And so, again, I'm just excited that, first of all, he led me to the people who we are going to meet on tonight. So as you come in, just actually come in, let me know that you're here. And so we can get ready to get started. I'm just really excited about what is going to happen on tonight. And so I wanted to give a little background on the generations, because some people, like, I still got people that's talking about youth or millennials when millennials are full grown people with kids and married and all of that other stuff. And so I wanted to make sure, before we even get started, that I tell you exactly the ages of the generations, so we can have a clear understanding of the fact that, hi, sis. So we can have a clear understanding of exactly who the generations are and who we're going to be talking to tonight. So you're a baby. Actually, I did not know this until I looked it up. That baby boomers have a baby boomers 1 and a baby boomers 2. And so right now we're going to be speaking to a baby boomer 2 tonight, though. And that is anyone who was born between 1955 to 1964. So our baby boomer 2s are from 1955 to 1964. Then we have Gen X, which is myself, anyone born between 1965 and 1980. 1980, you are a Gen Xer. I know some of y'all be thinking y'all millennials, you are not. So want to make sure I make that clear. Then millennials are born from 1981 to 1996. So right now, millennials are between the ages of 26 and 41. Millennials are between the ages of 26 and 41. They are full grown people. They grown, they have lives, they have careers, they have children, they have husbands, they have wives. I'm saying this because I know specifically in the church, people keep saying they having these youth things for millennials when millennials are full grown people. And last but not least, the last adult generation that we have are Gen Zers. And Gen Zers right now actually are really between the ages of 10 and 25. Right now is Gen Z, but of course, I'm not having anybody on this platform under the age of 18. So I wanted to make sure I point that out to you, because right now we're not even in Gen Z. We're in a whole nother generation where my kids are growing up. And I think it's like the alpha generation or something like that. So I wanted to talk to you about the 4 generations that's being represented tonight. So first up, I'm going to have her introduce herself. You guys have seen her before. She is my sister. I love her so much. She is our sister Kelley from North Carolina, and she is representing the baby boomers. Introduce yourself, Kelley.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Call me the baby boomer too. I am now residing in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am a newly ordained minister. Y'all keep praying, and I work. I work with Guilford County in a middle school. Grades 6 through 8. I am the owner, founder, CEO of Gifted Hands Ministries. And what we do there, we connect with inmates and their families. We try to remember special holidays if they have children. and their children are going to proms or, birthdays and things like that. And we will remember them with parents' permission, of course, and we'll send a card, or we'll help with the prom dress, or we'll help with something special to make that day special for them if their incarcerated parent or parents are not able to attend. We also work with seniors. A new ministry was formed when I was taking care of my mother, who died 2 years ago now. And there are a lot of people that go through things with their family members, seniors especially, and resources are a problem. You're not sure what to get, how to get what you need, especially if you don't have a referral from a doctor. And so a ministry was born out of that, where I'm able to connect with people and give them resources for their loved one. Resources ranging from nurses, how to get supplies, how to get free supplies, free, keyword free, for their loved one. And then we have adopted, Gifted Hands has adopted corners coming off of one of the major highways here. So on Fridays, we will feed as I come off. The people know, they see the car, has a dog on the back, and I roll my window down, put my flashes on, and I deliver food right there as we come off. Yeah. So I've been fortunate to do a little bit of everything, and I'm excited to share and hear what my younger sisters have to say tonight.
And Kelley, can you just tell us, how old is your youngest child?
My youngest child is 36.
36 is her youngest child. I just want to make it all relative. Well, yeah, you're not old enough to be my mother, but plus you're too fabulous to be my mother.
My oldest one will be 45 this year.
Oh, we're real close. Okay. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. And next up is my little sister. I call her my little sister. Y'all know I don't claim too many people, so if I say it in public, that means it's for real. But I'm just saying, we talking about sisterhood tonight, so I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. But I'm gonna bring her up, Lady T. I am bringing her up. Hi, if you can introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tamara E Williams, affectionately known as Lady T. I'm a preacher, teacher, business owner, philanthropist, amen, spiritual advisor, praise the Lord, all that good stuff. And I'm just excited to be connected to Dr. C, a woman of God who saw something in me. And I'm just grateful for your life and those that are on the panel. I am a millennial, a proud millennial, one that is still believes in honor and respect, and just being able to know that because of honor and respect to my older generation, that's how God has allowed me to be able to reach multi-generations. And so I'm just excited how even at a young age, I started my own business called Lady T Consulting Firm. And basically what it is that I help people with ministry and their business be able to kind of see what's going on in their organization and see how I can better strengthen their organization, whether it's through event planning or whether it's through mentorship, just being able to kind of see what is needed. And also, I have my own ministry. It's a nonprofit organization, which is called Etw Ministries. Well, we're here to serve you with the spirit of excellence and love. And I just believe in helping people, being a blessing to the body of Christ. We have so many charities out there for those in the world, but where do we have those giving back to the church? So that's my job in the earth realm, to kind of just talk about those hot topics, the elephant in the room, to let somebody know that Jesus saves in an authentic way.
Well, thank you. And how old are you, Tamara?
I'm 29 years old.
29? Look, I remember what I could say. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. So thank you so much, Lady T, for gracing the platform on today. And last but certainly not least, I'm gonna bring up my niece. I affectionately call her my niece, y'all, because y'all be going around starting looking at pages. No, she not blood, but her mama is my big sister. So I'm gonna bring up Njari. Hi. So
Hello.
Njari, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Njari Mbakwe. I am from Middlesex, New Jersey. I am 19 years old. I am a student at a rising junior at American University in Washington, D.C. I actually just finished my semester a couple days ago. So, thank you, Jesus. um, I am a finance major and an international business minor. Not really sure what I'm looking to go into in terms of my professional career, but I'm a passionate student. I'm passionate about my studies. I'm a focused student, and I'm here to represent Gen Z and all of our fabulousness.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for introducing yourself. I just want to jump right in. The fact that, first of all, I just want to say I am honored to have 4 different generations represented on the same platform. I'm just really excited about that. And the fact that you guys heard it, I'm going to say it because y'all, cause look, I sound like this, but y'all know I got a whole doctorate, but we be acting like that our people, Black and brown, don't know how to represent themselves, do not know proper English. And the fact that, look, I ain't have to coach nobody. Everybody did their own little thing. So let's first talk about that. I want to go in specifically about sisterhood because I've noticed for me as a Gen Xer, sisterhood looks a little different for me than it may look for Lady T and Njari or even Kelley or whatever. So I really want to talk about that because we've had this strain over it. Honestly, it's been decades of, I'm jealous of this one, or this one is that one, or these are not my real friends, or, whatever the case may be. And I really want to kind of talk about it because I don't really know where it stems from. Honestly, I don't know if it was a particular generation or if it's different now as sisters when it comes to Njari's generation being 19. And so actually I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I want Njari to kind of talk about what does, because you're in college, so you're on a campus.
Mhm.
Like, what does sisterhood look like? First of all, you go to American University or something like that, right?
Right.
So it's a multicultural university.
Mhm.
So what does sisterhood kind of looks like there? Like, do you see somebody who looks like you and you're like, hey girl, like how does that work?
Absolutely. So this year was just for some context, was my first year on campus. Last year we were virtual. So this was my first year actually living and interacting with a lot of the students on campus, and especially the Black students. And so for me, sisterhood, especially when I was new on campus in August and I was, scared to make friends, sisterhood really looked like being super open to making new friends. That was kind of the basis for a lot of friendships and then the building of a lot of friend groups as the year progressed. And so it was a lot of just a lot of Black girls, I'll say specifically us Black girls. We were, hey sis, how you doing? What do you need? I'm cooking tonight, come over. It was a lot of that. And it was it was a lot of us having to kind of open ourselves up to each other. I would say, especially now in this era of social media, it's really scary making new friends as a young person. It can be really scary. All of our lives are broadcast mostly all the time. Every mistake that we make can be traced, online in some capacity. And so, yeah, sisterhood looked like having to be open, forcing yourself to be vulnerable with, new people, new young people, having to trust, people that you may not have trusted it, outside of a college context. And yeah, that's what that kind of looked like. There was the cattiness and the foolishness that went on. I don't know anything about that, but I heard about it. heard about it through the grapevine. I didn't know personally anything about that, but that comes with the territory. But for the most part, there was just a lot of having to get over barriers of trust and vulnerability, especially within the Black women community at my school.
Wow. I'm glad that you said that and you talked about the vulnerability and the trust, because I think that's something we deal with in every generation. I know for me, when, I mean, and I did a live about it a while ago. I was running through the streets talking about no new friends, no new friends. And then I realized the old friends I had, I needed new ones.
Right.
Like seriously. And so then I had to learn how to trust new people that I didn't know and try to be vulnerable with people and don't think they have ulterior motives. And I had to do that at 46.
Yeah.
Like, who is she really? And I'm like, literally, I was in my prayer closet, like, God, show me who this person is. Because people lie these days. They lie. They lie. They lie. They lie. I'm just going to say that.
It's true.
And so, Kelley, can you, because you grew up in an era where it seemed like, I'm just going to say what they show us on TV and stuff, where women of color especially were like the village, like they really bound together and helped raise each other kids and stuff like that. So has that really been the way it really is?
When I grew up, yes. As a matter of fact, my neighbor now, excuse me, across the street, she will come out now if she sees something strange and say, "Hey, what's going on over there? You all right?" And that's the way it was when I was growing up. It really did take a village. I'll say her name is Miss C. Okay. I can remember her spanking my behind because she had my mother's permission to do so. I tried to cut school one day. And I can remember her spanking me and calling my mother. And my mother said, "Okay, thank you. I'll deal with her when I get home." So it really was like that. Everyone looked out for everyone. Everyone on the block knew everyone. You looked out for one another. If I couldn't get to my mother, I could get to Miss C, or I could get to the lady next door. We truly, and my mother was the same. My parents were the same about everybody else's child in the neighborhood. We really were a village in this area, and we took care of one another. And that's how we kind of grew up, So they say people from the South are friendly. I lived here, graduated, went up north. It was kind of completely different. You say, "Good morning, how you doing?" People look at you like, "What?
What you want?"
Like you're talking to me at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm just, "Hi, how are you? Good morning." And it's like crazy, But down when I grew up, that's what it was about. That's how we were raised. That's how we were taught.
Wow. And Lady T, because now you're crunched in between two generations, like literally your generation is the first one that kind of came up with the internet, more or less or whatever. So that was a whole totally different thing. How has sisterhood been for you, especially because you're doing so much, and for you to only be 29 years old, like you're really focused, you already have a focus and a passion. So what has sisterhood been like for you?
So honestly speaking, sisterhood has been a challenge for me, because it's kind of like once you pass that phase of college and you get your degree, it's like everyone's out for themselves. And everybody's just trying to make sure that their life is stable. Like, as the lady was just saying, how, you're trying to figure out yourself. And then now when you kind of have an inkling of what you want to do, you're now kind of at a season of writing solo. So when you're at that season of writing solo, it's like, okay, listen, I'm thinking about getting married. I'm thinking about having children. I'm thinking about my dream job or my dream house. And so sometimes when you're so focused on your purpose, you kind of miss the moments of opportunity to live. You know what I mean? Because you just came through that burnout of being in college and working while you're in college. You know, you go through those different changes. So now, and I could talk about college because I work at a college and I hear those conversations that we try to push and reinforce independence so much that we're so conditioned to looking out for me and minding my own business that we forget someone else. And we get lost in that process. And I think that it has been portrayed in a negative way, but I think it comes from a place of, I'm just trying to figure myself out. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's like, unless you have a common ground with someone who is driven like you're able to coexist with them because you feel what I feel. And it's like, if you can't see what I see, then I can't be around you. And that's where competition comes in. That's where, you know, just everyone's just trying to win and not thinking about collaboration over competition. You know what I mean? I think it comes from a place of just, I'm just trying to get me, you know, and sometimes that narrative of mind your own business does not mean to not speak up and help someone else out in the process of you getting yourself together. So that's to me how I look at sisterhood. I believe that there is authentic sisterhood. But you know, we've just conditioned ourselves, you know, as a small circle, you know, just one or two friends, you know, and that's not ride or die. And we just keep it like that because we're so driven in trying to reach our destiny that we just don't want people to interrupt our space, if you will. Because we're in that process of becoming.
Wow. It's good that you said that. And you know, I'm right behind you. And honestly, there are some people in my generation who still don't know who they are, who still trying to figure their life out. And because of that, then when it comes to this whole sisterhood thing, because I, you know, of course, with me going to college and doing things and working and what you call it, I didn't get married until I was 34. So all my friends pretty much already had kids. They already had whole husbands. And I'm sitting out here like, I'm still coming to your house to eat, but I ain't got nobody with me or whatever. But it took me, what I noticed is I had to start befriending people for where I was trying to go versus people who I knew. Like I'm Tamika laughing. She know I ain't had no man. I was at her house eating, at your mother's house in Njari eating. I ain't had no man, but I was like, I'm coming over there too. I don't care who they.
That's right.
Because you cooked, but I had to. When I looked at my relationships over time, I realized that for me, although we had something in common, like you said, when I realized, oh shoot, there's more. Yes. Then when I realized there was more, people started looking at me like, well, what you mean there's more? You acting funny now. You're like, what do you mean? Like when I wanted to travel and get a passport, people looking at me like, where you trying to go? I'm like, out, like deuces, like, and they looking at me like, oh, you trying to be different, like you trying to be fabulous, like we don't do that. And so I want to talk about too, because and before we came live, and Njari, you know, she's traveled or whatever. She's been fortunate enough. She has parents who are really, truly empowering her to see the world and to get outside of the box. And I think that is something that Generation Z really, truly takes seriously, is the fact that they don't want to live in a box. And they understand that, like, I'm in New Jersey. They understand there's more to life than New Jersey. And so I want you to kind of talk about, Njari, some of the places that you've been able to travel and see different women who look like you, but you've seen them in different places.
Sure. So my dad is Nigerian. I am a proud Igbo girl. Maka, shout out. But yeah, so I grew up traveling to Nigeria a lot. And my dad is one of 7 sisters. And so going to Nigeria and watching his sisters interact. And so I know you wanted me to kind of talk from a continental perspective. And so watching his sisters interact, sisterhood looked like kind of what it looks like everywhere, just being there for each other. A lot of times I would just watch my dad's sisters. Ooh, excuse me. I got something in my eye. See, watching my dad's sisters just literally just say, I need this. And any one of the sisters just being like, I got you immediately. Like watching that, watching them, just like watching them support each other in a genuine sisterhood. And then I remember growing up and comparing my dad's sisters to my mom's sisterhood. My mom has only 2 sisters. And so their sisterhood looked very similar. And so that shaped my growing up, my idea and my perceptions of what it means to be a good friend, because not only are they sisters, but they're friends by choice. And I absolutely love that. And so what it meant to be a good friend, what it meant to be a good sister to my brother, to my friends. And also I learned a lot about boundaries through watching how they interacted with each other. I'll also say I've been fortunate enough to travel to Thailand, and I lived there for a month. And through my travels, I actually stayed in a couple homestays. And so I actually got to stay with different families in Thailand. And so even that, like looking at the dynamics and how really sisterhood is support, like support. Like, yes, love is important. Yes, you know, familial ties are always going to be there, but really just watching how the women just supported each other and they were a village for each other. And it definitely shaped my view. I went to boarding school. I went to a PWI. There was a lot of nonsense and racism and misogynoir that was running rampant and perpetuated in my community. And so I built my own sisterhood. And I built my own family in order to kind of feed my spirit and feed, what I needed. And it's all Black women because I needed to see myself reflected in my friends. And so growing up, seeing my aunts from my dad's side, from the continent, interact, seeing how my mom interacted with her sisters, and then even just globally, seeing how women interacted across my travels, it really did affect and help shape how I was able to build my own tribe, build my own community once I got to high school.
Wow. Y'all, my niece making me so proud. Whatever. Oh my goodness. So Kelley, I want to talk about now because the thing is, you already stated you work with students as well, but you got them funny ones, them the 8th grader, whatever, who may listen, may not listen, but I don't even want to talk about the kids. I want to talk about the parents that you've been having to deal with, because of course these, especially the women, because most of them are in either my generation or even Lady T's generation. I would hope some of them, but you never know these days, some of them are probably in Njari's generation as well, unfortunately. I mean, but I want to talk about, because now we affectionately call Kelley Mother Kelley. Everybody, we call her Mother Kelley. She has a mothering spirit. She's really gentle with us and everything. And I want you to talk about when you're in that mothering mode and you're trying to coach and help, whatever, what type of reactions do you get from us in these other generations?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Wow. Yes, it is. And it's across the gambit, yes, even some of the kids will call me my dukes, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted that. And it's different. It can be a challenge. You have some that will actually receive what you have to say. I know that I have been gifted to communicate in ways that others may not be able to communicate. And I can tell you, you really need to put that in check, And again, some are very receiving, some are not. And it's, I can't do this, I can't do that. I think because, especially before COVID, right? You had uncles, aunties, grandmothers, grandfathers that were assisting with raising children and helping to raise children. COVID hit. What happened? Those aunties and uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers, unfortunately, some of them died. Unfortunately, some of them had to move. People lost their apartments, they lost their housing, and it really, really shifted the dynamics in some of the families. And so you have parents now that are not used to dealing with their children
Whew.
because they're used to grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle, or an older sister that is dealing with their children. So now they have to deal with their children and they don't know how.
Wow.
And you try to address some issues sometimes and things, and you get a lot of pushback. And I understand they're pushing back because they just really don't know. When they should have been, I'll say should have been listening to what mommy was trying to say or to what grandmother was trying to say. They were out trying to live their best life. I don't have to worry about my child because my grandmother, my mother has a child, my grandmother has a child, and now you have to deal with your own child. So in a lot of instances, yeah, for real, you got to deal with your own child. And a lot of instances now, you don't know how to.
Whew.
You weren't taught how to. So children are doing what they see you do. Okay. So if they see you talking to a teacher in a way that they should not be, that's disrespectful, if they see mama do it, they're going to do it. Children don't do what you tell them to do. Okay. They do what they see you do.
Wow.
And it's sad, but again, I am able to sometimes say things that others can't say and have it received. I've had to say things and parents have walked out mad, but they've come back later and said, you know what? I apologize. I thought about what you said. You were only saying it to help me and to help my child. So I appreciate that. But it's so different. It's so different now because you've got babies raising babies and you've got children dealing with children and they don't know how. I mean,
wow. Babies raising babies.
Babies
See, y'all,
raising
that's why I waited till I was 37 and 38 because I still needed to be sure I was grown. I still need to be sure I was grown because I wasn't sure if I wanted to take my shoe money and buy Pampers. I wasn't sure. I needed to check. My bag money to get get my hair done, y'all, my nail. Like I wasn't sure if I could do all of that.
Yeah.
I want Lady T to talk about, because what I love and appreciate about her, and she mentioned it in her introduction, is she has a grace for multiple generations. But what grace that she has that is so profound to me is that a lot of older people truly embrace her more so than her own generation. Like it's literally Gen X baby boomers. I went to a function that she had, and everybody in there could have been my mama, my grandmother, and I mean they was in there getting it. Like it was literally like it was the support that you talked about was there. So Lady T, I want you to talk about, because again, you didn't just stumble across that or whatever, that grace that God is giving you to, of course you're in your generation, but I've seen how you have such influence with older people.
Wow, thank you. What I would say is that, the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. And I've been privileged to have people that were older than me that surrounded themselves by me and they poured themselves into me. And at a young age, I was receptive to an older person. My father's from the South, so we grew up saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, thank you, those things, having manners, speaking to people. And so that country style has embedded so strong into me, about honor and respecting your age, and not just your age, but also the people that are older than you. And then also, just growing up in an apostolic church, we have so many older people, and they just poured into you, and they would just encourage me and tell me, who I was, and they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so I was gravitated to them because I love the atmosphere of feeling like I can be like them when I grow up. And so I found myself constantly being under someone's wings that was older than me. And my mom would always say, like, she acts like she's been here already before, she has an old soul, it's because I'm just attracted to wisdom. The Bible talks about wisdom is the principal thing, and therefore get wisdom, and all by get understanding. And so I'm attracted to wisdom. When you're attracted to learning and growing, and you surround yourself by people who are influential, that's embedded in you, and you're able to kind of reach those people, you know what I mean, that and that's why the Bible says God called the young because they're strong, and the old because they know the way. But God has graced me to have a hybrid of saying, even though I'm young and I know certain things, but I also have that listening ear to hear, to say, okay, listen, I have this idea, but is it the right timing? Having that open spirit, as Mother Kelley said, to listen, to hear, to learn, to uphold, to, respecting my elders, and kind of like know how to translate that. And I think that with our generation for millennials, I believe that sometimes we just want to understand why, and sometimes when we ask why, it comes out the wrong way. So it's being misunderstood as being disrespectful and not respecting your elders, because you're not used to someone asking you why. You're just used to someone just saying yes.
Because I said so. Because I said so.
Because you said so. That's it. Like, there's no back and forth, So whatever, we've had that way of just wanting to know why. And so I've learned that I have been able to talk to different type of people by my delivery. A lot of times we just kind of be so vocal and want to express, and this is just who I am, but not being open to understand, okay, how can I say what I'm saying in my head, but translate it to them that they understand, and that's why, college is important, because it talks about conflict resolution. That's one of the classes that they teach you, knowing how to work with people, knowing how to interact, and, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. And so just kind of having those embedded principles, is where I've been able to, that even though I've had functions that I try to make it young and make it relevant, that the older generation still come, because what they say, wow, if she can listen to me, I can listen to her.
Yeah, and I mean, they be spirit filled, y'all. They be trying to lay us out there. I'm like, Dad, we just came to eat, and then they just like, we wasn't supposed to do that here. Like, but but they be like, well, listen, while we're here, we might as well give them glory. That's how they start off. So what I want to talk about is, because we are in this self-declared year of the woman, like, especially we have seen just in this last year, actually in this pandemic, Black and brown women who look like us, being elevated to places and businesses and organizations and churches, like all of this elevation now for women who look like us. And so what I want to talk about now is, because of course, when Kelley grew up, in your generation, like, you already know half of the things that's happening now, it's the first. It's like, it's the first Black woman to be in the White House, but she ain't the president. But now it's the first Black Supreme Court justice. It's the first Black woman, and so now we're hearing this over and over and over again. And I want to talk about Njari, like how, because now you're 19, like you said, you don't know exactly kind of what you want to do, but you're majoring in good majors. See, those are good majors. Those are money-making majors, you guys. That's why I tell people all the time, and Lady T already works at a college. Get you a good major, you can make a coin, no matter what you do. So I want you to talk about, because now you're in a place where you're saying, I don't really know what I want to do, but at the end of the day, do you feel like your options are endless, or do you feel like this is like a phase, or because this is new for all of us, but it's kind of like it's your normal because you're so young and you've been able to see so much?
That's a great question. I think that so right now in my college experience, I think that I'm starting to realize that, the world is my oyster. And as real as that is for me, and as real as that realization has been for me, so have the barriers and the kind of systemic issues that are stopping me. I'm kind of realizing the fullness of what that means, of what being my oyster means. And so, yes, I'm seeing all these opportunities. I actually was able to get a paid internship this summer through a program for Black students and for Black college students. And so at a major firm, might I add. All right. But I think that it has been both enlightening to kind of see all these Black women making these, having these accomplishments. And it's also been a little bit stressful and overwhelming to see that, like, these are the shoes that I have to fill now. These are the steps that are laid out before me. And, I really kind of don't have any choice but to succeed. But it's also, on the other side of the coin, I'm being given a platform to succeed now that there's people that look like me in positions that, have never been filled by Black women before. And so to kind of bring it back to sisterhood, I have a group of 4 friends who I have been my sisters since I was in high school. I like to say we're trauma bonded because of all the stuff that we went through in high school. But they have encouraged me to talk to them about my goals, talk to them about my dreams, talk to them about and be specific about what it is that I want in my professional life, in my personal life, spiritually, in my walk with God. And speaking to them about these goals and aspirations have caused a lot of them to come to fruition. It was simply a kind of thought, a kind of afterthought to get an internship this summer. And I just kind of mentioned it to them and ended up actually being able to follow through and get something that I really wanted, for my career. And so I just think that the sisterhood and the kind of the love that I get from my friends and the way that they pour into me is also gonna propel me into whatever field I end up going into. So
wow. I'm glad you talked about that too, because it's funny because, we're 2 totally different generations. Like, I'm old enough to be your mom, but that's something that I've been experiencing recently. Wow. That because I have a circle of friends that I can share my dreams, my visions with, that they hold me accountable. Yes. It's literally like, okay, so you said you was going to do such and such, and what's up with that? And I'm like, I did. It to the point where now, and Mother Kelley can tell you, they be like, oh, you said you praying about that, but what you said you praying about? You got to be specific. Write it down. Yes. I was like, dang, I got to be that. You better be specific and write it down. I'm like, but I didn't never have that. Like, I've had girlfriends growing up, but just until really this pandemic have I had people that said, no, what do you want? And now I'm going to hold you accountable to what you said, and I'm going to push you.
Yes.
So, because usually for me, I've always been the pusher, like literally, like I was some drug dealer or something. Like, it was like I would see somebody, oh, I'm going to help you. I'm going to push you, lift you up and dust you off. And then when they get themselves together, they don't know me no more. I mean, whatever. So it's just facts. So now it's like you said, I'm noticing even in my own life that I've been able to accomplish more because now I have a group of people who are challenging me
Yep.
and holding me accountable to
Mhm.
what I say I'm going to do. And they don't find me crazy because, like you said, you were like, I need an internship. I might think about it. The fact that you found a paid internship, because back when I went to college, wasn't no such thing as paid as you gonna get these credits and sit down somewhere,
Mhm.
or whatever. But
Right.
the fact that you were even able to do that. And Lady T, I want to talk about because your generation is kind of funny. Like, I mean, y'all real funny with I don't know if I'm gonna tell you what I really want to do because I can't trust you because you run around and start trying and copycat it happen in every generation. But I'm telling you, this social media thing with millennials that I have seen, I want you to kind of talk about that because it's really like this copycat spirit be jumping on that
What's the
generation.
spirit?
I don't know if it's because it's still I'm trying to still figure myself out. So it's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. And then they do it. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. So like I want you to kind of talk about it because I mean this your thing.
Wow, that's a great question. My perception, I believe that the misconception of being a trendsetter. When you're a trendsetter, it opens the door for copycats, And when you try to do something different, people, like you said, with their jump in social media, when they see something that's different, and someone took the opportunity to branch out, to launch out, first they're going to talk about you. First they're going to say you're crazy. They're going to say that you don't know what you're doing. The moment they see it successful, then they're going to try to recreate what you do. So it's
Mm.
that moment of like, I'm kind of jealous because you took the risk and you came out of and you broke the glass ceiling. But now that you broke the glass ceiling, I want to try to do it too. So but it's still motivated by inspiration because that person dared to be different. And so we have a lot of women out here that are now saying, you know what, while everybody's in everybody else's business, I'm going to use this as a platform to show that I'm different. That show you that I have something that I want to invent, that I want to invest in, and that's, to me, actually, I've reframed my thinking to not look at when people do what I do as a copycat, because if you want to be an influencer, you have to welcome people trying to be like a minion, you have to welcome that. We look at it in a negative sense, but I look at it as that I have influenced you so much that you want to do what I do, but, it's just a matter of just give me credit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just say I was inspired by Lady T, if I could just share real quickly, when I first started doing my ministry, one of my first things that I did was not like a regular church service. I did an expo. And I had all people just come from all walks of life to just come around to eat, to shop, to network. At first people was looking like, what is she doing? This is different. It's not church. Nobody's praying for anybody. They made all these comments. Now everybody wants to do an expo. I mean, everybody wants to do different things. So, and at first I was like, okay, what happened? But then I realized, like, wait a minute, no. They were influenced by me. They saw it was a success, and now they want to try to do it. But one thing that I've learned to be confident is that you can try to mock it, but nobody has the same ingredients. I have the main ingredients,
Yes. Yes. I built my cake from scratch. You got box.
I love that.
I like that.
You got that box cake. I do mine from scratch. I'm so glad you said that though, because your generation, I will say, a lot of what is happening in the world is challenged by the fact that millennials said, because my generation X was kind of like, we're gonna get along to get along. Like we not gonna do this, but we not gonna do that. We just gonna get along to get along. Versus millennials were like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Like, no, millennials were really the first generation that said, I ain't staying at no job for no 10, 15 years.
No,
You must
have
be
my own
out your
business.
mind. Like, and you only giving me 3%. Millennials said, oh no, where's the bag? Because I'm trying to get the bag. So it's literally like, because your generation has challenged so much, it's made people, even in my generation, even the boomers, look and say, wait a minute, what they doing? And what they doing seems to be working. So now let me try that.
Yeah.
Like, versus now, yeah, it definitely is. And so I think when we look at just being women and being sisters and all this other stuff that millennials as well as Gen Z have, I know from my generation, I'm looking like, shoot, I could do that too. Like, I literally to be looking, because, well, everybody who knows me know I the job thing, that's not my issue, because I know better because of what position I am in. I'm in HR. But just in general, like, I look at certain things, and the two of you, your two generations are fearless versus X and boomers are like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Like, even when we look at who was the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement, it wasn't my generation or even Kelley's generation. It was really Gen Zs and millennials saying, we're sick and tired of this. Like, what we not gonna do is this. Like, and then of course we came up behind y'all like, yeah, you do that. Like, we're gonna support you, and we're gonna sow seed. We're gonna give you some money for you to go out on the front lines or whatever. Even when it comes to that, because now there are a lot of women of color. Like, we literally, no, we want our babies to have this. No, we don't want that anymore. And I don't know how you feel. I don't want to say activists, because I know neither one of y'all are like Al Sharpton or nothing like that or whatever. But like, do you feel like you have a responsibility to protect or to speak out or defend? Like I said, my generation, I think we didn't really start getting this until recently. Like, you know what? No, as a Black woman, I don't like that. Like, or I want to wear my hair how I want to wear my hair. Or, yeah, look at Kelley. Like, and I'm going to start with you, Lady T, because, like, I don't know if that's your desire, and it doesn't have to be, but do you feel like when you see things, like, there's a burning in your soul? Like, how do you know what I'm saying? Because your generation is so much more bolder, I would say, than my generation or even Kelley's generation.
Well, you can see before there was a shifting in the 2000s and the 1993, and around my age, we were surrounded by older people, right? So, but what we learned is that you instill things in us, but now when I want to branch out and reinvent the wheel, I feel restricted. And so it's like, I feel that when someone pours into you, you eventually have to allow that person to pour it back out. And so what it is that in our generation, we have learned to do so much within a short period of time. And so we feel that we can kind of be on a certain plateau, even at our young age. And it's like, okay, that's why you have so many people who are young doing different things, because they feel that they have enough experience because you've been better at that than us, and so now it's like, I don't want to hold it in a box. I want to try it. You know what I mean? Like, we sometimes we limit people by their age and say, at this time, you should do this. At that time, then you should do that. And so with the fact that now, okay, yes, I have a child and I have a husband at a young age and I have this, so I'm able to get it without restrictions. And so we just kind of like dare to be different, to say, you know what, because I have the knowledge and the experience, because now these days, you can go to college, even at a community college. I didn't even realize that at least if you're 16, you can start going to college. You know what I mean? So you can already kind of get your foot in the door. That's why they promote early, college programs, even at urban communities, because you're getting the knowledge so young. And so we dare to be different and say, I don't have to wait till I'm 30 or 40 to now, try to buy a house and say things. I could do it now. And so they're just saying that they're not trying to be limited by their age.
I'm so glad you said that. And Njari, I want you to kind of come in on that, because that is what we basically do. We say, oh, you're only 19. You should only be doing this. When you've lived through so far, I mean, a pandemic, we crazy out here in these streets, injustices, all of these things you've seen at just 19, that when I was 19, I was wet behind the ears, literally. Like none of the stuff that you've seen or had to live through have I ever experienced. And so I think there's a level of maturity that we as older people don't realize. And this is not everybody, because it depends on who your parents are, who you've been exposed to, and things of that nature. But there are more younger people who have more experiences than some older people. Point taken, I haven't been to the continent yet. I'm going to get there.
Yeah,
you've been there multiple times. So I want you to kind of talk about, because I mean, the good thing is you have wonderful parents who understand that your mind is vast already, or whatever, because of the experiences they've given you. But do you feel like, besides your parents, that us as older generations, we're restrictive in that way?
Like in terms of being expansive and kind of exploring the world?
Yes.
Yes, I do. I think compared to my generation, absolutely. And I think it's because of fear. My generation, we have kind of a path. We know, we've seen what you guys have done. So we know what we like, what we don't like, from the boomers to the, Gen X to the millennials. We see kind of how to maneuver because we've watched you guys live. And, we grew up, at least I grew up with, my grandma and, older generations, her sisters. I'm literally at my grandma's sister's house right now. And so we grew up, I grew up spending time with them and learning from them. And they always talk about how I've seen so much more than they have, and how that they know that that's what fuels me being able to kind of be a person that loves to travel and enjoys the world, enjoys the what the world has to offer, or at least desires to. I got to get a little bit more money in the bank first before I can travel more. I think it's interesting the way that they talk about it, because it's kind of like, it's kind of as if they can't do it now. There's like I don't know what it is, but there's something that, prevents a lot of people in older generations from doing what they see people in my generation doing. And I think they have more resources than we do to be able to do it because they have money.
Look, at least your mother and your dad and your parents trained you well, because they said that's their money. You need your own.
Yes. And that's another thing too, is that generational wealth. And so my parents were able to provide a life for me that they didn't have. It's not like I'm living a life that they have lived before. And so me going to boarding school, me traveling, my programs I went to, speaking on different panels, doing all of these things are not things that my parents did. They're things that because of the foundation that they built for me, I was able to explore on my own. And I was able to go out and find opportunities and learn what I was passionate about. But there is definitely a socioeconomic barrier to a lot of people my age being able to experience the world the way I have. And so it's really interesting to see, even in my super close-knit friend group, how our experiences and how we're all very, I would say, very mature for our age, but how our various experiences have shaped that. I have friends, from low income backgrounds. I have friends who are super, super, they live in the posh life overseas. And all of us, because of our age, have, been exposed to so much. I would definitely say because social media, but we've just been exposed to so much that it's given us a leg up.
Yeah.
Despite the kind of socioeconomic barriers. So, yeah.
Your mother, because she all in my chat. She was like, she's fluent in Spanish also.
Hi, mommy.
And so, and what I love about this is the fact that I didn't start traveling until I was in my 20s or so. But you're right, because my mom got to travel a little bit, but after, like, she was already in her 40s or so. And so when I was in my 20s, when I got my passport and stuff, well, that when I started traveling, you didn't need a passport, you just need a birth certificate. That's how long ago it was. You just needed a birth certificate to show that you were a U.S. citizen.
Oh, wow.
Whatever. It's I know. See,
you just learned something new.
You were a U.S. citizen. This was before all these extra things. It was literally you just jump on the plane with your birth certificate. Now you got to have a passport. They scanning your finger. All these other things now, or whatever. But that's the thing, when me being, I'm my mother's only child who went to college and graduated college, and things of that nature. And I was like, I want to see this. And I still haven't gotten to see everything I wanted to see, which I am going to see now that I finished all these different degrees and stuff. But a lot of it did have to do with the fact that the things that I wanted to do, people were looking at me like, what you want to do that for?
Right.
Like, no, what you want to go to Africa for? It's hot. What, like, or what? Why you want to travel here? You sure they're not going to kidnap you? Like, literally, before, I'm in my 20s. Like, I want to go here, I want to go there, and I didn't have anybody to go with, because my generation was like, I ain't going nowhere. I go down south for the summer.
Right.
So, like, I go down south for the summer. Your mother said it is hot. I know Africa is hot, but I'm just saying, for me to see culture and see the world. And so, Kelley, Kelley, you've lived, you've traveled. You've lived. Y'all, and I told the ladies beforehand, Kelley used to be a model, y'all. That y'all can tell. Kelley, talk about some of the places you've been able to travel and some of the things you've been able to see. I mean, even as a boomer, because the fact that you were traveling when people in your generation weren't traveling at all.
Yeah. Because of my parents, because of who they were, we were affectionately, those are Doc's kids. So we were afforded opportunities at an early age that others may not have been able to experience, to do. Co-ops and things like that, being in high school and living abroad for a semester, I got older and discovered that I had a passion for missions. And so I've traveled to Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, Guyana, Suriname, different places like that, and experienced things that I thought, wow, I'm experiencing things that my mother didn't, and experiencing things that I didn't think I would be able to, but I was. And I never forget my first trip to Guyana. It was a joke, Bishop said, thank you for going. I said, no, I just found a ticket for someone. I'm not going, and I had an assignment, but ended up there in Guyana. And let me tell you, I wasn't ready for what I saw at that time. I wasn't ready for what I saw, but the people embraced me. And it took me, when I left, I'll never forget, I had to leave it was at a conference and I had to leave early. on a Thursday. And Bishop had said, okay, this one and that one, you can go with her, because at the time, it wasn't as safe as you might think, so we had to have someone go with us. And Bishop allowed 2 people to come. And Bishop looked up and people were walking out of the conference and we were just crying. I was crying and I couldn't believe that I had gotten attached that quickly to a country I'd never gone to people I'd never met. And it took me about 3 weeks when I got back from Guyana that I could talk about the trip. I'm an honorary Guyanese now. I still keep in touch with the people, my brothers and sisters in the land of many waters. I still keep in touch. But that bond, with the women, they looked out for me. They looked.
Wow.
I stepped on a nail, okay? Out in the interior, I stepped on a nail. Nail went right through my shoe, rusted nail. I'll never forget it. And I'm thinking, okay, did I get the medical insurance on this ticket? Where's the nearest hospital? All of these things are going through my mind. And one of the mothers sat me down and she told somebody to go out and get some kind of leaf, weed, whatever.
That is the earth.
Right.
She mixed it up, pulled the nail out my foot, the rusted nail. I had cast. Here's the nail. I have it with me every day. I had my jeweler to cast that nail as a reminder, but the way they took care of me and embraced me, and she put that paste on my foot and she said, "You'll be fine." And I'm thinking, I need a tetanus shot. How can I get out of here if I need to? There were only like a couple of planes a week coming from New York into, Guyana. So you might come in on that Saturday, you might go out on that Thursday, and if you didn't, you had to wait until the Saturday to go out. But they took care of me. That mother took care of me. Those sisters embraced me, and I just, my passion and my love for that just grew and grew, and the things I was able to see, the things I was able to share, the things I learned from those women.
Wow.
It kind of reminds me of mavens, you push. Sisters will push you. They pushed you and didn't mind that if you didn't know certain things, they told you, and it was okay.
That's right.
It was okay. So yeah, I love that traveling thing. Got that bug. Love it.
Hi, Executive Pastor. She said those are your roots, Tamara.
Yes, I didn't want to interrupt her, but yes, I'm Guyanese all the way.
I didn't even know that. And I claim her, y'all, as my little sister. I didn't even know that. Y'all know I'm serious about this thing. I don't claim people. But I was like, oh my goodness. So I want to just try to wrap this up because, first of all, the fact that all of us in our different walks of life, our different aspects of sisterhood and being women, the fact that it's been a fruitful conversation. And honestly, I mean, I'm not saying nobody has ever done anything like this, but I have never seen where it is women. We're all from different walks of life. We're not all from the same area. Everyone, like I said, I didn't know Lady T was Guyanese and Njari is Nigerian. But Kelley, is there something about you I need to know? What is you? Look, what is you?
Right.
I'm blackity black, but what is you? Because I know y'all got a little mix down there.
Little bit of this, little bit of that.
Live in this, live in that, live in this.
That ancestors, I've got ancestors on both sides of the fence. You know, my great grandfather was a slave owner. Um, you know, he bought his family to keep his family together, you know, and he made sure that everyone was taken care of, you know. Um, little Blackfoot, little Cherokee, you know. I call our
Wow.
family a melting pot because we truly have um, a little of everything in our family.
Wow. And the fact that you can make a reference to the fact you said your great great grandfather was a slave owner.
Mhm.
Wow. The fact that you can even make that connection or whatever is just so amazing at how far we've come.
Mm.
That even us as Black women today, even though they're talking about all these different things, we barely have rights here, there, that we are doing something that our ancestors wasn't able to do. The fact that we're on a platform together, all different generations, all different walks of life, but at the end of the day, we understand the importance of being women and the importance of sisterhood. And so before we close out, I'm just going to give each person a little time to really, like, now that we've had an opportunity to have a conversation, and I'll go first. I've realized, even in this conversation, that I'm no different than Njari.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no different than Lady T. I'm sure Kelley, she already knows she can't get rid of me. She's been with me a long time. We definitely know we here, but the same fears and the same vulnerabilities and all of those things that you experience even with going to school, I experience them now at work. I
Mm-hmm.
experience them now taking on new friends. I experience them now when somebody say, "Hey, I was thinking about you." I'm like, "What you was thinking about?" Like literally because you just don't know. And even when Mother Kelley mentioned the Mavens, and it's the ministry that the Lord had me birth. Even when the Lord gave me names of people, and I was like, I don't know them people. Like he like, no, you go ask her, and I'm like, I don't even have her phone number to ask her to do anything for me. But it made me be vulnerable, and it made me realize that one, I needed sisterhood. I didn't know I needed it. I just felt like I had women, but I didn't have sisterhood.
Mm.
Mm.
And that's what, if anything, I needed to get out of even the conversation. I know, Dr. Nicole, I inboxed you though because I'm scared of the Lord. I know what is you disobedient, he beats you up. So so I know that, but that's the thing. Like, I had a bunch of women around me, but I didn't have sisterhood. I
Wow.
didn't have accountability. I didn't have love. I didn't have honor. Because that's big. Like, the fact that people could see me and say, I see you and I want you to be you. And for me to look back at them and say, I see you
Mm-hmm.
and I want you to be you. And guess what? You be you. And when you get in that door, you get me a seat right at that table. Like, or whatever. And so I know for me, that's really what I realized in this conversation is that I'm no different. And I'm still, even at 46, dealing with some of the same fears
Mhm.
of vulnerability and meeting new people, or even being accepted by my generation because I'm a trendsetter, a trailblazer, I'm doing something different, or even because I'm considered wise as Mother Kelley, that when I say stuff, people looking at me like, well, who you think you are? Like, whatever. And so I'm going to go backwards, and I'm going to let Njari, like, has anything enlightened you in this conversation?
Yeah, it has. I just like listening to all of you talk, it has really made me just kind of be able to, I guess, verbalize now that my sisterhood has raised my standards in every area of my life because of
Mhm.
how strong it is. and because of how much it feeds me. I have friends that honor me. They celebrate me. Like they, not just like my accomplishments, not just the things I can do for them. Like they celebrate me, who I am. They've seen me at lows. They see me, you know, through all of my, you know, accomplishments since I was 14 years old. And so they've also watched me grow. They've watched me, you know, turn into, will become a young woman. And we've all just, we have this culture, it's a dynamic in our friend group where we really just like celebrate and honor each other. And that kind of love that we have for each other has, even in romantic relationships, it has made me raise my standards everywhere. I don't accept energy just from anyone. I don't accept, you know, just mediocre anything now. And it's because of my friends. I will say it's because of my sisterhood. They build me up in a way that, you know, other people, I don't think have the capacity to do. And so being on this panel has really made me realize just how strong that bond is and how important it has been to my growth as a person. So I also just want to say thank you for all of you giving me your wisdom and pouring into me, because it's been amazing listening to all of you. And, you know, it's just a blessing to be able to hear all of you kind of pour into me. So thank you.
Wow. See, y'all, we debunked that myth. Gen Z, listen to us if you got something to say. We debunked that tonight. But you got to have something to say, because you can't come sideways because you told them so, because they not feeling that.
I receive it. I'm receiving it.
So, Lady T, has this enlightened you at all? Does it make you think? First of all, Njari, I'm glad I have a friend group like yours, but if I didn't, I'd be jealous. I just want to let you know. Because she said they got the capacity. That right there can preach.
Yeah.
Who got the capacity? Oh,
You're fine.
But go ahead, Lady T.
I love what Njari said, and I can just echo that same thing, that just hearing the different perspectives just shows us and how to reinterpret how people feel, you know, and to understand, you know, the underlying things that people go through, and just understanding sisterhood and how it's so important and it's so needed. And I just want to thank you, Dr. C, for just embracing this platform so that we can continue to raise our voices in sisterhood and women building an empire together. Okay. And I just wanted to say this to Njari: if I never see you again, I just want you to know to just be encouraged. He is just such a great inventor. I'm sorry, Dr. C. When I shift, I just shift.
Listen, you go with the Lord. My mama right here, she can hear. You go.
So, but when I was listening to her talk, I just saw the budgetista, the budgetista who didn't have much, and now she's going around and teaching people how to budget, and she's making money off of helping people. And I could just see that in you, that you just have the power of wealth. Just walk in that wealth. And I really see you traveling different places, and even on TV shows, just telling people how to obtain wealth.
I claim it.
Just loving that.
She know exactly what to do. She like, I claim that.
And you know what? My name means an infinite amount of wealth. So the fact that you said that, and that, you know, is my destiny and my purpose.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Look,
Wow.
first of all, did y'all hear the 19-year-old said, because this is my destiny and my purpose? There are women I talk to who are 45 and don't even know what their destiny and their purpose is. You better come through here.
Yeah.
Come on now. And you got to prophesy. See, y'all, I love sisterhood. Mother. Now, y'all, let me tell y'all about this Mother Kelley, though, before she get this. Because she a silent killer. I'm going to just tell y'all that. You see how she's smiling and stuff like that? Her and I have been friends. We were friends before I got married. That's how long we've been friends. And we've been friends over her. Let me tell you what the Lord has said. And then you know how she let me tell you what the Lord has said. Or when she moved and left me, you know, she slide up in my inbox. How you doing, sister? Look, and that's it. How she talking, Zach. How you doing, sister? And then be like, I love you. I pray for you. So, Mother Kelley,
Yeah, baby.
what you got to say about the? I mean, the floor is yours. You the mother.
This has been a wonderful experience. And I think more people need to understand the importance of sisterhood, true sisterhood. We need to encourage one another. We need to lift one another up. We need to be there for one another. We don't need to be judgmental. We don't need to have that backdoor conversation. Okay. We need to be able to come to one another and speak to one another. You know, it's just like wisdom. Okay. Dr. C knows wisdom. She's from New York. I'm from Jersey. Okay. She can say to me, you know what, you just got on my nerves right now. And I think you need to do this, that. But we can talk like that, and we understand one another. We love one another, but more importantly, she's honest with me. I'm honest with her. We don't know how to be honest with one another. We can say things and say it in love and not tear one another down. Say what we have to say in a way that we understand, and you walk away loving each other that much more. That's a true sister. If you can't tell me when my stuff stinks,
right,
problem.
Right.
If you can't tell me when I'm wrong,
That's fine.
That's a problem. But more importantly, tell me in love, but then don't go and talk about me. You know?
Yes, Mama Kelley.
I was about to go up in tongues, y'all. Sorry.
And tell me in love. And we need to understand that, I should be able to relate to Njari. I should be able to relate to Lady T, Dr. C, okay, and understand. Njari hasn't been where I've been. Dr. C hasn't walked where I've walked. Lady T hasn't seen what I've seen yet. Okay. And we need to respect that. I need to be able to share. My mother used to tell me the right and the wrong and the in between. She said, now you make the decision as to what you're going to do.
Wow.
Okay. And whatever you do, know that there are consequences for the right, there are consequences for the wrong. Whatever you choose, you have to be able to accept those consequences.
Wow.
So this has been awesome. I'm grateful to have been on the panel. Love it. Can't wait to get to New Jersey. And hopefully I will be able to meet Lady T and Njari and
they should be around when you come visit this summer, because I know you coming. I know you coming. Y'all, she just be jumping on planes and stuff or riding in cars and she just show up. So she should be that. Yes, I know. So she should
do that.
I just want to tell you all thank you so much, because when I contacted everybody, the Lord showed me everybody, and I just had this crazy idea, and I said, this is what I see, and I don't know what we're going to talk about. But now, even as we're talking and we're closing out, I realize this needs to happen more often than not, because we have to debunk the fact that we're not sisters. We have to debunk that fact, and that we don't listen to each other, because that's not true. That's not true. It's just that, like you said, we have to, the right spirit, we have to do it in love. And I learned a lot just by listening to Njari, me being receptive of the fact that I don't know everything. So we are going to do this again. I don't know when. I'm sure it's going to be soon, because there's other topics that I believe the generations need to talk about specifically, whatever. But I just want to say thank you for trusting the fact that my crazy idea that the Lord gave me was something that was needed in a needed conversation. And I hope, if nothing else, it has people thinking that because someone is younger doesn't mean they don't want to listen to you.
right.
maybe you need to check how you're talking to them
Right.
in order for them to be receptive to you.
Right.
And you got to be receptive to the fact that in that conversation, you may learn something too.
Right.
And I think if we approach sisterhood in that way, then we could mix within our own generation as well as to be able to go across the generations and really kill this divide
Yeah.
that appears to exist, because I need you, you need me. Like if we could just get lock in step with really truly being, because honestly, we're the lowest on the totem pole. Women of color, based on statistics, we're the lowest on the totem pole in every area when it comes to equality and equity.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need each other, because why am I in competition with you when we ain't getting what the white man getting? Like that, like what we need to be doing is working together so we can establish and do what we need to do. And so I just want to say thank you all so very much for taking your time out tonight. I'm glad Njari's semester is over. Y'all, if y'all know, Lady T preaching all over the continent, so y'all can follow her. Look, she preaching all over the continent. Like she preaching, she teaching, she doing whatever. But again, you guys can follow her. She put the name of the business up, Lady T Consulting Firm. She also has Etw Ministries. If you want to follow, like I said, she's gonna be all over the place. I'm working on Gifted Hands getting their stuff together, because they act like they're not gonna be global, but getting their stuff together so we can share all of their information and make sure for people who want to donate, and make sure people get food, and make sure that the inmates' children get clothes and things of that nature. We want to be able to support what God has given you to do to help our community. Because if we don't help ourselves, who's going to help us? We got to stop waiting for handouts from the government and all these other places. Hey, Terry, she said, that's right, global, Kelley. Global. But I just want to say thank you all so much. This won't be the last time. I just don't know when, because y'all booked and busy, and since Njari got a paying internship.
Right.
But thank you all so much. Thank you guys for who tuned in. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know any comments. If there's another issue we need to tackle, whatever. I want us to be able to do this, because again, I know I'm tired of people acting like we can't get along. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of every time. And it happens, though. There's still women to this day that don't speak to me. They don't know why, or whatever. But at the end of the day, that's not our story. That's not everybody. Right. And the fact that if we could just really work together and be supportive of each other, the power that we could really truly demonstrate here in the earth. So thank you all so much. I love you all. Everyone have an amazing night. I'm sure we'll be back soon. Look, when everybody not so busy. But thank you all so much. Take care, everybody, and have an amazing night.
Thank you.